Good evening and welcome to a Sports Weekly special. Rugby union is fast becoming a really, really international sport, being played by countries like Jordan, Lebanon, the UAE. Now, right here in London, there's a Somali project happening, and I'm joined today by Development Officer from the RFU, Sterry, and one of the Somali project team, Arshe. Chaps, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, Ty, tell me a little bit about what a development officer for the RFU entails.
The RFU is a rugby football union, and all rugby development officers are responsible for growing the game. So there are around 50 development officers across across England, and each development officer looks after a particular area. I look after Middlesex, and our role and responsibility is to connect with our communities, connect with our clubs, and try to bring it all together so that we've got more people playing more rugby more often.
Excellent. So is that something you've always done? Have you always been a development officer?
Yeah, for the last sort of 15 or so years, I've been involved in rugby.
Excellent. So what were you doing before a development officer? Have you played the game yourself?
I was in the police service.
You were in the police service?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So when you say you look after Middlesex, obviously there are lots of counties in and around the London area. We've got Surrey and Essex and all. So each one of these will have a development officer. And how is that policed by the RFU?
Well, we've got, for instance, if you take Middlesex, you've got the surrounding CBs, you've got like Essex, you've got Met Kent, you've got Surrey, Hertfordshire. We're basically within an area which is, or the makeup of it is, you've got the RDOs, which are then looked after by area managers, and the area managers are looked after by the head of rugby development.
Okay. Now, I'm sure a lot of people out there have the misconception that the RFU is only England rugby. Is that true?
No, the RFU basically is made up of everyone that plays rugby in England. It's got thousands of member clubs. And the game's played all the way from grassroots, amateur rugby, all the way to professional level in the Premiership. And then, obviously, the pinnacle of our game is the England team that runs out at Twickenham Stadium.
Amazing. So with the amount of money that's now in, competitions like the Aviva Premiership, are people like yourselves and Abdul obviously, are you seeing the money dripping down to grassroots level to help you with your development programmes?
I think there's significant investment in grassroots rugby, especially on the back of the 2015 Rugby World Cup. There's been so much investment into our work in delivering in institutional delivery, such as club schools, colleges, universities, and this is all going towards, breaking down barriers and opening the game up to everyone.
Amazing. Now, obviously, head of the RFU is Jason Leonard. Is this kind of a proposals that Jason's brought in since he took over?
Well, Jason's the past president.
Sorry, past president.
And obviously the head of the RFU is our CEO, Ian Ritchie. And we have our Director of Development, Steve Granger. And our strategic plan was launched back in 2013 in the lead up to and beyond the Rugby World Cup, which was hosted in England. The whole idea of development is built around 6 key drivers, which is around the recruitment, retention of players, how to help our clubs develop effective and efficient facilities. We support our clubs in getting involved by leadership skills and effective governance and management. We also look after recruiting high quality coaches, volunteers and referees. So the pillars that are built around our strategic plan are all geared towards growing the community game.
Amazing, amazing. So Abdul, how does a Somalian get involved in rugby?
We got involved in this year, February 2016. But the good thing about it, Sterry, he's built a good relationship with Suhail and some of the other key organisers, and through the back of that, we've been they've recruited us and have brought that forward to us, and we started to participate and play from this year, February.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do you find rugby? It's probably it's a very, very, it's contact sport. So
yeah,
how have you adapted to the rigours of rugby union?
I tell you what, the funniest thing, when I first was told about it, I said, no way. I laughed and I said, you know what, I told the bloke, my mate, I said, listen, get out of here, mate, you're having a laugh. But, it's that stereotypical view that I had, it's not for me, it's not something that I would do, it's not my interest. I haven't done it when I was a young age. Sure. I'm not going to do it, in my 30s, sure. Early 30s. I'm still a young lad, but I said, no way. And he just said, you know what, just come and try it. There's a new initiative. It's in our local park, Regent's Park, because we're from the Camden area. Mm-hmm. And I went along, and I tell you what, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was the good thing about it. We had a really good, excellent coaches who basically showed us the basics of rugby. Cool. And I thought, you know what? I started doing some rugby passes, and I thought, I can do that. And it's really one of the things that I thought that I never would have thought that I would be enjoying rugby and learning it and enjoying it. That's the most mind-boggling thing. Yeah, sure. From that first session when I did it, I thought, from then the passion grew, and as we progressed, I attended every sessions. Most of the sessions that we had, it was on Fridays, and it was such a really successful training sessions that we said, you know what, even Ramadan was like during the peak time in July.
So you were fasting and
exactly.
Wow.
During July, we said we're not going to stop. We're going to continue, and because it was such. We got the enthusiasm. We had the enthusiasm, and we had the passion, and we said, you know what, we're going to continue it. Amazing. And have that consistency. So
how many of because you say you're from Camden,
yeah,
and obviously Ty works in Middlesex. So how have the two of you kind of conjoined in this project?
We've got Ty, Suhail, and there's a lot of borough leaders in that came together. Ty will explain a bit more, but the RFU have set up a big meeting for a lot of the borough leaders, okay, and a lot of the volunteers, and they've given them the introduction and what the program was about and that sort of stuff. And the good thing about the back of that good introduction for those borough leaders was such a key, because they sold it to us and they sold it to many other members of the community.
That's fantastic. So Ty, starting from when you first had this idea, how do you approach a Muslim community with a sport like rugby union?
That's a really good question. I think it's probably best starting back at the beginning.
Yeah.
So we run a very successful programme as part of our commitment to growing the game, which is the CBRE All Schools programme. Mm-hmm. And we had a school in Hounslow where there was a tremendous amount of participation in curriculum time, and some seriously good athletes. And obviously part of our work is to encourage then the transition from school to club, where we can help our clubs grow new teams. And there was a large number of kids that wanted to continue playing. We organised some transitional sessions for them to come to club, but we weren't getting any transition. Right. So in order to understand why, I had a conversation with the school with the head teacher. There's a chap there called Alan Fraser, who's an absolutely fantastic guy and really connected within his Hounslow community. And he helped me get in touch via the local authority with the community engagement officer, a guy called Najib Ahmed. Najib's fantastic, and that's where really my education started, because I was completely ignorant to the community that I was trying to connect with. So that's where, for me, the sort of learning journey started, if you like.
Yeah.
And how.
Well, it must have been completely alien to you, coming from well, not completely alien, but there's a lot of things within Islam and the Muslim way of life that are probably very different to you, right?
I come from a game. I grew up. I was around a rugby club all my life, so I started playing mini rugby at like 3-4 years old. Yeah. My understanding of rugby, it's a game for everyone. Yeah. So when you've got that ideology, I didn't really pay too much attention to what or who I was speaking to from a cultural perspective. Yeah. So to me, I'm just talking to another guy.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, do you fancy getting involved with rugby? Yeah. And not really understanding what potential obstacles could jump up in front of us. Wow. So Najib was really helpful in making me understand that. So we had a number of meetings. It was nice to be able to invite the guys up to Twickenham Stadium and introduce them to the home of rugby. And I think that was a real kickstart. That was a real help. Mm-hmm. And through Najib, we were introduced to Sahel, who was the chair of trustees at Dar es Salaam Mosque. Okay. And it was I'm going to say it was a frosty initial first meeting, because white guy walking in off the street, hello, I'm from rugby, are you keen, sort of thing. It didn't go, it didn't resonate with him at all. Yeah. But it just took perseverance. And one of the important things, and this is where the cultural understanding was key, was through Najib's support, we were able to identify that our game connects with the Islamic faith on a number of areas, especially around the values. Yeah. So, the RFU's values around the game, teamwork, respect, enjoyment, discipline, sportsmanship. We were able to connect because of the faith being, the fact of discipline and respect being a big part of the Islamic faith.
Absolutely. So when it comes to the parents, you must have met the parents of the kids that you were potentially going to be coaching. What was the reaction that the parents was giving you?
Well, Sahel very kindly set up the opportunity for us to present to the Dar es Salaam community. Oh, amazing. So that was mums, dads, elders, seniors of the community, and we were able to host a lunch, which was really nice. It was a really, really good day, and I was privileged to have Simon Winman, who's our head of club development, join us on the day. And Simon presented to the community, and Simon was able to really, really connect and lay the foundations, and that, the leadership that we've got within the union for people like me to be able to do our job is fantastic, because he just created a platform for me to be able to go on and sell what for me is a wonderful game. Yeah. So we held that presentation in 2014, 2015. Sorry, 2014, and we were able then to just reduce the barriers a little bit. Sure. Parents knew about the game, and we immediately started to get sign-ups. So mums wanting their children to go and play, dads wanting their children to go and play, and the feedback was really, really good. I think it was very much appreciated that we had reached out to our neighbour, if you like, and to tell our neighbours in the Muslim community, hey, we're here, we want to connect. Right. Let's use rugby as a vehicle to enjoy each other's company. And move things forward. Wow.
So obviously you worked with that project. Did that then get taken into further schools? Because I know you've worked at Cranford Community College quite a lot. So did you use the things you'd learned from going to the Dar es Salaam Mosque, moving the project forward? Did you take that into the schools as well?
Yeah, we're really lucky, because Hounslo's a cracking borough to work in, and it's a really good. The schools in Hounslow are excellent. Use one as an example, Heston Community School. Aside from Cranford Community College, Heston has been a tremendous school to work with, and we're really fortunate now that the journey's been so fantastic that AK now is delivering on the RFU's behalf to a group of Somali children.
Amazing.
I say Somali children, they're young men, aren't they? To a group of Somali lads as a result of a head teacher seeing the work that the guys are doing and contacting us and saying, look, we've got some students that are having some academic challenges. Would you mind coming in and delivering a block of rugby so that we can reconnect with them?
Yeah, fantastic.
And that's been going fantastic. So to be able to send a role model into the school, it's like,
absolutely.
I've got no credibility.
Sure.
As a white guy, as a white middle class rugby player, my credibility is far less than sending AK in, who's been on the journey. He knows what rugby is. He knows what rugby can do for someone. Yeah. And
amazing.
Look where we are. Look where he is today.
Yeah, exactly where you are now. So, AK, how are you received within the Somali community now? Yeah. You're a Somali Muslim rugby player.
Yeah.
You don't find many of those around. How are you accepted in the community?
To be honest with you, we're becoming local celebrities.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We haven't started signing.
You've signed autographs.
Yeah, we haven't started that yet. But some of the guys like the likes of Ibrahim, he's a legend in the game. He's been around for many years, and he's got a lot of athletic background and that sort of stuff. Sure. So he does all those kind of stuff. But for us, on a serious note, I think it does. We've been getting a lot of feedback, and a lot of this like, through this social media. We've been reaching even back in Somalia and that sort of stuff. And
that's amazing.
Back of that, people are like, listen, and not just people. We're talking about people, ordinary people, and people at higher government and higher places, saying that we want Somalia to be in the 2020.
Hey, they're looking at Tokyo.
2020
Tokyo.
Why
not?
So
not?
we want you to take this back to the community and back to Somalia and take it to take this local initiative. National and make it national and international initiative as well. So
have the Somali Development Project, have you played competitively yet?
Yeah, we have. During September, we've been doing as from beginning of the year up until September. That's we've been doing a lot of the training preparation.
That was your pre-season.
Yeah, exactly. So and the good thing about that, it really built our key skills and everything, and key factors and into the about the game.
Yeah. I can probably tell the viewers that rugby is. The training with rugby is completely different to anything that they're going to understand. Football and rugby are complete opposites when it comes to training, as I'm sure you'll probably agree.
I've got a vast lot of experiences now, and I've even coached a very high level in the football. But putting that aside, one of the things, the most challenging thing, was learning about the game, the rules of the game.
Because the rules are easy, aren't they?
Exactly. Laws. I tell you what, laws of rugby. Being a having done coach education is, I've noticed that rugby, the laws of the game always continuously upgrade and change.
Absolutely,
and
like they have with the scrummaging laws this season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of tackling laws that's going to be enforced beginning of next year as well. Yeah. So, but the good thing about it, that's the good thing that's the most impressive thing about rugby, is always is always improving. Is always is always improving and always trying to better the game as well. So,
well, you seem a very humble man with your experiences with rugby, but I think you've just won something, haven't you? That I think the rest of the world need to hear about. So, could you tell us about the award that you guys have just won?
I'll let Ty go ahead.
I think I'll pick up on AK's last point. I think the guys having done their coaching courses which I'll come on to. The game is committed to looking after its participants. And I think that's what's resonated with the guys, is that there is constant updates, constant law changes in order to protect our players. And you know how seriously our game takes its player welfare.
Absolutely.
That, you know, and I think,
as Dylan Hartley would testify.
But I can't comment.
Can't comment, obviously not. No.
But I do know that you know, I see it every day from a work perspective, is how committed the game is to protecting everyone. And I think that was a big selling point to the guys, was, look, you won't get injured because you're going to be trained to you're going to be trained well by highly qualified coaches. You're then going to be taught how to deliver rugby to a high standard and a safe standard. And they, you know, I'm pleased to say they've been doing that brilliantly. All the kids at school are still walking good, so it's all good. But coming on to the
intervention,
the award. So we're very, very proud and very privileged to have received the Sports Coach UK Coaching Intervention of the Year award.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the work behind that nomination and eventual award was the coach education that's gone on. Right. So we initially, from starting to play, we made an offer through Sahel and through the community leaders and through the team captains to say, look, we have a coach education pathway and we would quite happily fund the education for you. Would you like to start with a couple of CPDs and then look at, you know, a further journey after that?
That's amazing.
So we had 10 guys, lads from Camden, lads from Haringey. You know, it's important to mention, you know, people like Ishak and Mahad that have been absolutely fantastic. Amazing. And been within the project, within the programme from the outset. They completed their Rugby Ready and their Scrum Factory CPDs, which are like prerequisite courses. So it's like 2-3 hour sit down, and the coach educator will present and they'll teach you how to deliver rugby safely. They'll teach you through the Scrum Factory how to deliver safe scrummaging, because these are all sort of elements of the game where it's important to have a very, very good understanding.
They're the most dangerous elements of the game, obviously, especially scrummaging.
Yeah, and the thing is that you can mitigate a great deal against the potential for injury. Through you know, increased knowledge of how to deliver and how to coach safely these areas of the game. So after we had delivered those CPDs, there was a real appetite for continuing, and we offered the opportunity for a level 2 coaching course to our entire cohort. And we had Ibrahim, Abdul Salam and AK who jumped at the chance to do their level 2. Yeah. And this, you know, that really inspired me that they took that on, because, you know, I didn't do my first coaching course. You know, I had 14, 15 years of playing behind me before I'd done my first coaching course. These guys had 14 to 15 minutes. Right. You know?
Yeah, so absolutely.
As an equivalent. Yeah. And they came in, and it was inspiring to see them work so hard to obtain something that isn't the easiest to obtain. No, you've got to be able to tick off all of the competencies for us, you know, for the organisation to be able to say, you know, you're qualified now to go and coach.
Brilliant. So, moving forward, carrying on with the project, carrying on with the rugby. I've seen your first try. It's a little dodgy, but we'll give it to you. So how do people get in touch with you, AK, and find out more about AK, and find out how to join your project and the other development projects that are going on within the RFU? How do people get in touch?
Yeah, well, we've got Facebooks. We've got all the boroughs have got different Facebook pages. Okay. So that's something that you can always follow through the social media. We've coming through the in the new year, we're going to be setting up Facebook. We're going to be setting up one specifically for the
Okay,
Somali,
good.
for the Somali. It's going to be called London Somali Rugby.
Well, then we will
rugby
find
team.
you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's
And
going
we'll
to
let
be
the
set
viewers
up.
know as well,
Yeah, exactly.
obviously. Yeah,
but at the
good.
same time, we still come under the umbrella of the RFU
Excellent.
and Thai Sterry's team as well. So that's that's something that Thai.
So people can get in touch with you through the RFU.
Yeah, I think
Excellent.
for anyone, and I suppose this is our opportunity to appeal to all
Yeah,
Muslims.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Our rugby clubs are all inclusive, open, welcoming, and there are some fantastic volunteers within our rugby clubs, and I think that's an important thing to remember, is those fantastic volunteers in our rugby clubs are consistently and constantly looking at opportunities to recruit new membership and new opportunities for new participants to play.
Brilliant.
So if anyone would like to get involved in our programme or in their local rugby club, we're more than welcome an inquiry. You can contact us by email, you can contact us by telephone.
Yeah, well, we'll put the details on the screen, obviously. Guys, listen, unfortunately, we've run out of time for tonight, but thank you so much. Abdulkadir, it's been a pleasure. Ty, thank you so much for your time. And as the guys said, there will be all the details here on the Islam Channel website, and you can also get in touch with us here at sports@islamchannel.tv, and we'll give you the details. Thanks for joining us. We hope you see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.